Well, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to part two of As You Like It. And before we start the reading tonight, I just wanted to say a couple of words. I love the great Shakespearean speeches. They were designed to offer us, good evening, a kind of insight wherever you are in the world into a certain character's take on the world and what they believe. They're the kind of, the essence of all that I think makes Shakespeare's great. So you can imagine that I was really excited that today, August 28th, 2020, is the 57th anniversary of Martin Luther King's iconic speech, "I Have a Dream." A speech written in 1963 whose words resonate, especially now. A speech filled with so much passion and sadness and truth and imagination. And when MLK wrote this speech, he was conveying a series of ideas and a passionate beliefs about the plight of what it means to be Black. And he was compelled to speak these words. He was driven to speak those words. And we live in an age where we must speak and be heard. And at Soul and Bliss, we stand with Black Lives Matter as we all navigate ourselves through this brave new world. And there's a line from King Lear that I would just like to close in on. "Thinkest thou that duty shall have dread to speak when power to flattery bows? To plainness honor's bound when majesty falls to folly." Thank you. So, As You Like It, part two, the synopsis. So far, we've seen all kinds of, the play sort of subverts the traditional rules of romance and gender roles and nature, and politics are kind of confused in a play that, well, reflects on how bewildering yet utterly pleasurable life can be. So part two starts with Oliver, Orlando's brother, is sent into the forest to hunt down Orlando, who has his life saved by his brother, becomes filled with a remorse for his past behavior. And then he falls in love with Celia, who's disguised as Celina. Frustrated by the pain of his love for Rosalind, Orlando is unable to continue wooing Ganymede. So Ganymede, Rosalind, promises that she will conjure up the real Rosalind and that all the lovers will finally be wed. So it ends very happily. Now I'd like to introduce our extraordinary cast of actors that are bringing you, that brought to you part one last week and bringing you part two tonight. And we'll start with Celina.
Hi all, I'm Celina Dean and I will be reading Rosalind and Ganymede.
Hi, I'm Joe Dinical and I'm reading Orlando.
Hi, I'm LuAnne Morrow. I'm reading Celina.
Hi, I'm Alana Urick. I'm reading Corin and Duke Sr.
Hi, I'm Paul Gore. I'm reading Jaques.
Hi, I'm Maddie Lewis. I'm reading Adam, Audrey, and Second Brother.
Hi, my name is Joe Shapansky, and I'll be reading for Phoebe, William, Hyman, and a page, and I think one Duke.
Hi, I'm Glenn Thomas Cruz, and I am reading Silvius and Oliver.
And I'm Richard, and I'm reading Touchstone the Cloud. So sit back and enjoy As You Like It, part two, act 3, scene 4.
Never talk to me. I will weep.
Do I prithee, but yet have the grace to consider that tears do not become a man.
But have I not cause to weep?
As good cause as one would desire, therefore weep.
His very hair is of the dissembling color.
Something browner than Judas's. Mary, his kisses are Judas's own children.
In faith, his hair is of a very good color.
An excellent color. Your chestnut was ever the onely color.
And his kissing is as full of sanctity as the touch of holy bread.
He hath bought a pair of cast lips of Diana. And none of winter's sisterhood kisses not more religiously. The very ice of chastity is in them.
But why did he swear he would come this morning and comes not?
Nay, certainly, there is no truth in him.
Do you think so?
Yes, I think he's not a pick purse nor a horse stealer. But for his verity and love, I do think him as concave as a covered goblet or a worm-eaten nut.
Not true in love.
Yes, when he is in.
You have
But
heard
I
him swear.
think he is not in.
You have heard him swear downright he was.
Was is not is. Besides, the oath of lover is no stronger than the word of a tapster. They are both the confirmer of false reckonings. He attends here in the forest on the Duke, your father.
I met the Duke yesterday and had much question with him. He asked me of what parentage I was. I told him of as good as he, so he laughed and let me go. Oh, but what talk we of fathers when there is such a man as Orlando?
Oh, that's a brave man. He writes brave verses, speaks brave words, swears brave oaths, and breaks them bravely, quite traverse athwart the heart of his lover as a pointsy tilter. He spurs his horse but one side, breaks his staff like a noble goose. But all's brave that youth mounts and folly guides. Who comes here?
Mistress and master, you have oft inquired after the shepherd that complained of love, who you saw sitting by me on the turf, praising the proud, disdainful shepherdess that was his mistress.
Well, what of him?
If you will see a pageant truly played between the pale complexion of true love and the red glow of scorn and proud disdain, go hence a little, and I shall conduct you if you will mark it.
Oh, come, let us remove. The sight of lovers feedeth those in love. Bring us to this sight, and you shall say I'll prove a busier actor in their play.
Act 3, Scene 5.
Sweet Phoebe, do not scorn me. Do not say that you love me not, but say not so in bitterness. The common executioner, whose heart the accustomed sight of death makes hard, falls not the axe upon the humble neck, but first gives pardon, begs pardon. Will you sterner be than he that dies and lives by bloody drops?
I would not be thy executioner. I fly thee, for I would not injure thee. Thou tellest me there is murder in mine eye. 'Tis pretty sure and very probable that eyes are the frailest and softest things. Who shut their coward gates on enemies should be called tyrants, butchers, murderers. Now I do frown on thee with all my heart, and if mine eyes can wound, now let them kill thee. Now counterfeit to sound, why now fall down? Or if thou canst not, oh, for shame, lie not to say mine eyes are murderers. Now show the wound mine eye hath made in thee. Scratch thee but with a pin, and there remains some scar of it. Lean upon a rush, and cicatrice and capable impressure thy palm some moment keeps. But now mine eyes which I have darted at thee hurt thee not. Nor am I sure there is no force in eyes that can do hurt.
Oh, dear Phoebe, if ever, as that ever may be near, you meet in some fresh cheek the power of fancy, then shall you know the wounds invisible that love's knee-keen arrows make.
But till that time, come not thou near me. And when that time comes, afflict me not with thy mocks, pity me not, as till that time I shall not pity thee.
And why, I pray you? Who might be your mother that you insult, exalt, and all at once over the wretched? What though you have no beauty as by my faith, I see no more in you than without candle may go dark to bed. Must you be therefore proud and pitiless? Why, what means this? Why do you look on me? I see no more in you than in the ordinary of nature's saleswork. Odds my life. I think she means to tangle my eyes too. No, faith, proud mistress, hope not after it. 'Tis not your inky brows, your black silk hair, your bugle eyeballs, nor your cheeks of cream that can entain my spirits to your worship. You foolish shepherd, wherefore do you follow her like foggy south, puffing with wind and rain? You are 1,000 times a properer man than she a woman. Oh, 'tis such fools as you that makes the world full of ill-favored children. 'Tis not her glass, but you that flatters her, and out of you she sees herself more proper than any of her lineaments can show her. But mistress, know yourself. Down on your knees and thank heaven, fasting for a good man's love. For I must tell you friendly in your ear, so when you can, you are not for all markets. Cry the man mercy, love him, take his offer. Foul is most foul, being foul to be a scoffer. So take her to thee, shepherd, fare you well.
Sweet youth, I pray you chide a year together. I had rather hear you chide than this man woo.
He's fallen in love with your foulness, and she'll fall in love with my anger. If it be so, as fast as she answers thee with frowning looks, I'll sauce her with bitter words. Why look you so upon me?
For no ill will I bear you.
I pray you, do not fall in love with me, for I am falser than vows made in wine. Besides, I like you not. If you will know my house, 'tis as the tuft of olives here hard by. Will you go, sister? Shepherd, ply her hard. Come, sister, shepherdess. Look on him better and be not proud, though all the world could see, none could be so abused in sight as he. Come, to our flock.
Dear shepherd, now I find thy saw of might, whoever loved that loved not at first sight.
Sweet Phoebe.
Ah, what sayest thou, Silvius?
Sweet Phoebe, pity me.
Why, I am sorry for thee, gentle Silvius.
Wherever sorrow is, relief would be. If you do sorrow at my grief in love, by giving love your sorrow and my grief were both exterminated.
Thou hast my love. Is that not neighborly?
I love you.
Why, that were covetous. Silvius, the time was that I hated thee, yet it is not that I bear thee love. But since thou canst talk of love so well, thy company, which erst was irksome to me, I will endure, and I'll employ thee too. But do not look for further endorsement than thine own gladness that thou art employed.
So holy and so perfect is my love, and I in such a poverty of grace that I shall think it a most plenteous crop to glean the broken ears after the man that the main harvest reaps. Loose now and then a scattered smile that I'll live upon.
Knowest thou the youth that spoke to me erewhile?
Not very well, but I have met him oft, and he had bought the cottage and the bounds that the old Carlot once was master of.
Think not I love him, though I ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy, yet he talks well. But what care I for words? Yet words do well when he that speaks them pleases those that hear. It is a pretty youth, but not very pretty. But sure he's proud, and yet his pride becomes him. He'll make a proper man. Best thing in him is his complexion, and faster than his tongue did make offense, his eye did heal it up. He is not very tall, yet for his years he's tall. His leg is but so-so, yet 'tis well. There was a pretty redness in his lip, a little riper and more lusty red than that mixed in his cheek. 'Twas just the difference betwixt the constant red and the mingled damask. There be some women, Silvius, they had marked him in parcels, as I did, that would have gone near to fall in love with him. But for my part, I love him not, nor hate him not. And yet I have more cause to hate him than to love him. For what did he do to chide at me? He said mine eyes were black, and my hair black, and now I'm remembered scorned at me. I marvel why it answered not again. But that's all one. Admittance is no quittance. I'll write to him a very taunting letter, and thou shalt bear it. Wilt thou, Silvius?
Phoebe, with all my heart.
I'll write it straight. The matter's in my head and in my heart. I will be bitter with him, passing short. Go with me, Silvius.
Act 4, Scene 1.
I prithee, pretty youth, let me better acquainted with thee.
They say you are a melancholy fellow.
I am so. I do love it better than laughing.
Those that are in extremity of either are abominable fellows, and betray themselves to every modern censure worse than drunkards.
Why, 'tis good to be sad and say nothing.
Why then 'tis good to be a post.
I have neither the scholar's melancholy, which is emulation, nor the musician's, which is fantastical, nor the courtier's, which is proud, nor the soldier's, which is ambitious, nor the lawyer's, which is politic, nor the lady's, which is nice, nor the lover's, which is all these. But it is a melancholy of mine own, compounded of many simple, extracted from many objects, and indeed the sundry contemplation of my travels, in which by often rumination wraps me in a most humorous sadness.
A traveler. By my faith, you have great reason to be sad. I fear you have sold your lands to see other men's. Then to have seen much and have nothing is to have rich eyes and poor hands.
Yes, I have gained my experience.
And your experience makes you sad. I had rather have a fool to make me merry than experience to make me sad, and to travail for it too.
Good day and happiness, dear Rosalind.
Nay, then God buy you. And you talk in blank verse.
Farewell, Monsieur Traveler. Look you lisp and wear strange suits, disable all the benefits of your own country, be out of love with your nativity, and almost chide God for making you that countenance you are, or I will scarce think you have swam in the gondola. Why? How now, Orlando? Where have you been all this while? You, a lover, and you serve me such another trick, never come in my sight again.
My fair Rosalind, I come within an hour of my promise.
Break an hour's promise in love. He that will divide a minute into 1,000 parts and break but a part of the 1,000th part of a minute in the affairs of love. It may be said of him that Cupid hath clapped him on the shoulder, but I'll warrant him heart whole.
Pardon me, dear Rosalind.
Nay, and you be so tardy, come no more in my sight. I had as lief be wooed of a snail.
Of a snail?
Aye, of a snail. For though he comes slowly, he carries his house on his head. A better jointer, I think, than you make a woman. Besides, he brings his destiny with him.
What's that?
Why, horns, with such as you are fain to be beholding to your wives for. But he comes armed in his fortune and prevents the slander of his wife.
Virtue is no horn maker, and my Rosalind is virtuous.
And I am your Rosalind.
Pleases him to call you so, but he hath a Rosalind of a better leer than you.
Come, woo me, for now I am in a holiday humor and like enough to consent. What would you say to me now, and I were your very, very Rosalind?
I would kiss before I spoke.
Nay, you were better speak first, and when you were gravelled for lack of matter, you might take occasion to kiss. Very good orators, when they are out, they will spit, and for lovers lacking, God warn us, matter, the cleanliest shift is to kiss.
How if the kiss be denied?
Then she puts you to entreaty, and there begins a new matter.
Who could be out, being before his beloved mistress?
Marry, that should you, if I were your mistress, or I should think my honesty ranker than my wit.
What, of my suit?
Not out of your apparel, and yet out of your suit. Am I not your Rosalind?
I take some joy to say you are, because I would be talking of her.
Well, in her person, I say, I will not have you.
Then in mine own person I die.
No, Faith. Die by attorney. The poor world is almost 6,000 years old, and in all this time, there was not any man died in his own person, videlicet in a love cause. Troilus had his brains dashed out with a Grecian club, yet he did what he could to die before, and he is one of the patterns of love. Leander, he would have lived many a fair year, though hero had turned none, if it had not been for a hot midsummer night. For, good youth, he went but forth to wash him in the Hellespont, and being taken with the cramp, was drowned. And the foolish chroniclers of that age found it was Hero of Sestos. But all these are lies. Men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love.
I would not have my right Rosalind of this mind, for I protest her frown might kill me.
By this hand it will not kill a fly. But come, now I will be your Rosalind in a more coming on disposition. And ask me what you will, I will grant it.
Then love me, Rosalind.
Yes, faith, will I, Fridays and Saturdays and all.
And wilt thou have me?
I, and 20 such.
What sayest thou?
Are you not good?
I hope so.
Why then, can one desire too much of a good thing? Come, sister, you shall be the priest and marry us. Give me your hand, Orlando. What do you say, sister?
Pray thee, marry us.
I cannot say the words.
You must begin. Will you, Orlando?
Go to. Will you, Orlando, have to wife this Rosalind?
I will.
Aye, but when?
Why now, as fast as she can marry us.
Then you must say, I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I might ask you for your commission, but I do take thee, Orlando, for my husband. There's a girl goes before the priest, and certainly a woman's thoughts run before her actions.
So do all thoughts, they are winged.
Now tell me, how long you would have her after you have possessed her?
Forever and a day.
Say a day, without the ever. No, no, Orlando. Men are April when they woo, December when they wed. Maids are May when they are maids, but the sky changes when they are wives. I will be more jealous of thee than a Barbary cock pigeon over his hen, more clamorous than a parrot against rain, more newfangled than an ape, more giddy in my desires than a monkey. I will weep for nothing like Diana in the fountain, and I will do that when you are disposed to be merry. I will laugh like a hyena, and that when thou art inclined to sleep.
But will my Rosalind do so?
By my life, she will do as I do.
Oh, but she is wise.
Or else she could not have the wit to do this. The wiser, the waywarder. Make the doors upon a woman's wit, and it will out at the casement. Shut that, and 'twill out at the keyhole. Stop that, till fly with the smoke out at the chimney.
A man that had a wife with such a wit, he might say, wit whether wilt.
Nay, you might keep that check for it, till you met your wife's wit going to your neighbor's bed.
And what wit could wit have to excuse that?
Mary, to say she came to seek you there. You shall never take her without her answer, unless you take her without her tongue. Oh, that woman that cannot make her fault her husband's occasion, let her never nurse her child herself, for she will breed it like a fool.
For these 2 hours, Rosalind, I will leave thee.
Alas, dear love, I cannot lack these 2 hours.
I must attend the Duke at dinner. By 2 o'clock, I will be with thee again.
Aye, go your ways, go your ways. I knew what you would prove. My friends told me as much, and I thought no less. That flattering tongue of yours won me. 'Tis but one cast away, and so come death. 2 o'clock is your hour?
Aye, sweet Rosalind.
By my troth, and in good earnest, and so God mend me, and by all pretty oaths that are not dangerous, If you break one jot of your promise or come 1 minute behind your hour, I will think you the most pathetical break promise and the most hollow lover and the most untrustworthy of her you call Rosalind, that you may be chosen out of the gross band of the unfaithful. Therefore, beware my censure and keep your promise.
With no less religion than if thou wert indeed my Rosalind. So, adieu.
Well, time is the old justice that examines all such offenders, and let me try. Adieu.
You have simply misused our sex in your love prate. We must have your doublet and hose plucked over your head and show the world where the bird hath done to her own nest.
Oh, cuz, my pretty little cuz, that thou didst know how many fathom deep I am in love. But it cannot be sounded. My affection hath an unknown bottom, like the Bay of Portugal.
Or rather bottomless, that as fast as you pour affection in, it runs out.
No, that same wicked bastard of Venus that was begot of thought, conceived of spleen, and born of madness, that blind, rascally boy that abuses everyone's eyes because his own are out. Let him be judge how deep I am in love. I'll tell thee, Aliena, I cannot be out of the sight of Orlando. I'll go find a shadow and sigh till he come.
And I'll sleep.
Act 4, Scene 2.
Which is he that killed the deer?
Sir, it was I.
Let's present him to the Duke like a Roman conqueror, and it would do well to set the deer's horns upon his head for a branch of victory. Have you no song, Forester, for this purpose?
Yes, sir.
Sing it. 'Tis no matter how it be in tune, so it make noise enough.
What shall he have that killed the deer? His leather skin and horns to wear. Then sing him home, the rest shall bear this burden. Take thou no scorn to wear the horn. It was a crest ere thou wast born. Thy father's father wore it, and thy father bore it. The horn, the lusty horn is not a thing to laugh to scorn.
Act 4, Scene 3.
How say you now? Is it not past 2 o'clock? And here, much Orlando.
I warrant you with pure love and troubled brain. He hath ta'en his bow and arrows and is gone forth to sleep. Look who comes here.
My errand is to you, fair youth. My gentle Phoebe did bid me give you this. I know not the contents, but as I guessed by stern bow and waspish action, which she did use as she was writing it, it bears an angry tenure. Pardon me, I am but as a guiltless messenger.
Patience herself would startle at this letter and play the swaggerer, bear this, bear all. She says I am not fair, that I lack manners. She calls me proud, and that she could not love me were man as rare as Phoenix. That's my will. Her love is not the hare that I do hunt. Why writes she so to me? Well, shepherd, well, this is a letter of your own device.
No, I protest. I know not the contents. Phoebe did write it.
Come, you are a fool and turned into extremity of love. I saw her hand. She has a leathern hand, a freestone colored hand. I verily did think that her old gloves were on, but 'twas her hands. She has a housewife's hand, but that's no matter. I say, she never did invent this letter. This is a man's invention and his hand.
Sure, it is hers.
Aye. 'Tis a boisterous and a cruel style, a style for challengers. Why, she defies me like Turk to Christian. Woman's gentle brain could not drop forth such giant, rude invention, such words blacker in their effect than in their countenance. Will you hear the letter?
So please you, for I never heard of it yet heard too much of Phoebe's cruelty.
She Phoebe's me. Mark how the tyrant writes. Read. Art thou God to shepherd turned, that a maiden's heart hath burned? Can a woman rail thus?
Call you this railing?
Read. Read, Sylvius. Read.
Why, thy Godhead laid apart, wouldst thou with a woman's heart?
Did you ever hear such railing? Whiles the eyes of man did woo me, that could do no vengeance to me. Meaning me, a beast. If the scorn of your bright eyne have powers to raise such love in mine, alack in me, what strange effect would they work in mild aspect? I mean, whiles you chid me, I did love, how then might your prayers move? He that brings this love to thee little knows this love in me, and by him seal up thy mind, whether that thy youth and kind will the faithful offer take of me, and all that I can make, or else by him my love deny, and then I'll study how to die.
Call you this chiding?
Alas, poor shepherd.
Do you pity him? No, he deserves no pity. Wilt thou love such a woman? What, to make thee an instrument and play false strains upon thee? Not to be endured. Well, go your way to her, for I see love hath made thee a tame snake. And say this to her, that if she love me, I charge her to love thee. If you be a true lover hence, and not a word, for here comes company.
Good morrow, fair ones. Pray you, if you know, where in the purlieus of this forest stands a sheepcote fenced about with olive trees?
West of this place, down in the neighbor bottom, the rank of osiers by the murmuring stream, left on your right hand, brings you to the place. But at this hour, the house doth keep itself. There's none within.
If that and I may profit by a tongue, then should I know you by description, such garments and such years. The boy is fair and of female favor, and bestows himself like a ripe sister. The woman, low and browner than her brother. Are not you the owner of the house I did inquire for?
It is no boast being asked to say we are.
Orlando doth commend him to you both, and to that youth he calls Rosalind, he sends this bloody napkin. Are you he?
I am. What must we understand by this?
Some of my shame, if you will know me, what I am and how and why and where this handkerchief was stained.
I pray you, tell it.
When the last young Orlando parted from you, he left a promise to return again within an hour, and pacing through the forest, chewing the food of sweet and bitter fancy, lo, what befell. He threw his eyes aside and marked what object did present itself under an oak, whose boughs were mossed with age and high top bald with dry antiquity. A wretched, ragged man, o'ergrown with hair, lay sleeping on his back. About his neck, a green gilded snake had wreathed itself, who with her head nimble in threats approached the opening of his mouth. But suddenly, seeing Orlando, it unlinked itself and with indented glides did slip away into a bush, under which bushes shade a lioness, whose udders all drawn dry lay couching head on the ground with cat-like watch when that the sleeping man should stir. For 'tis the royal disposition of that beast to prey on nothing that doth seem as dead, This scene, Orlando did approach the man and found it was his brother, his elder brother.
I have heard him speak of that same brother, and he did render him the most unnatural that lives amongst men.
And well he might so do, for well I know he was unnatural.
But to Orlando, did he leave him there, food to the sucked and hungry lioness?
Twice did he turn his back and purposed so. But kindness, nobler even than revenge, and nature stronger than his just occasion, made him give battle to the lioness, who quickly fell before him, in which hurtling from miserable slumber, I await.
Are you his brother?
Was you he rescued?
Was you that did so oft contrive to kill him?
'Twas I, but 'tis not I. I do not shame to tell you to tell you what I was, since my conversion so sweetly tastes, being the thing I am.
But for the bloody napkin.
By and by, when from the first to the last betwixt us two, tears our recountenance had most kindly bathed, as how I came into that desert place. I brief. He led me to the gentle Duke, who gave me fresh array and entertainment, committing me unto my brother's love, who led me instantly unto his cave, there stripped himself, and here upon his arm the lioness had torn some flesh away, which all this while he bled, and now he fainted and cried in fainting upon Rosalind. Brief I recovered him, bound up his wound, and after some small space, being strong at heart, he sent me hither, stranger as I am, to tell this story that you might excuse his broken promise, and to give this napkin dyed in his blood unto the shepherd youth that he in sport doth call his Rosalind.
Oh, why now, Ganymede, sweet Ganymede.
Many will swoon when they do look on blood.
There is more in it. Cousin Ganymede.
Look, he recovers.
Oh, I would I were at home.
We'll lead you thither. I pray you, will you take him by the arm?
Be of good cheer, youth. You are a man. You like a man's heart.
I do so, I confess it. Ah, sirrah, a body would think this was well counterfeited. I pray you, tell your brother how well I counterfeited. Hey-ho!
This was not counterfeit. There is too great testimony in your complexion that it was a passion of earnest.
Counterfeit, I assure you.
Well then, take a good heart and counterfeit to be a man.
So I do, but faith, I should have been a woman by right.
Come, you look paler and paler. Pray you draw homewards. Go, good sir, come with us.
That will I. For I must bear answers back. How you excuse my brother, Rosalind?
I shall devise something, but I pray you, commend my counterfeiting to him. Will you go?
Act 5, Scene 1. We shall find a time, Audrey, patience, gentle Audrey, fine.
Faith, the priest was good enough for all the old gentleman's saying.
A most wicked Sir Oliver, Audrey, a most vile Martex. But Audrey, there's a youth here in the forest lays claim to you.
I know who 'tis. He hath no interest in me in the world. Here comes the man you mean.
It is meat and drink to see me, to see a clown. By my troth, we that have good wits have much to answer for. We shall be flouting. We cannot hold.
Good evening, Audrey.
God ye good evening, William.
And good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, gentle friend. Cover thy head, cover thy head. Nay, prithee be covered. How old are you, friend?
25, sir.
Ripe age. Is thy name William?
William, sir.
Fair name. Wast born in the forest here?
Sir, I thank God.
Thank God, a good answer. Art rich?
Faith, sir. So.
So is good, very excellent, good, and yet it is not, but it is, but so. So, art thou wise?
Aye, sir. I have a pretty wit.
Why thou sayest well, I do now remember saying, the fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool. The heathen philosopher, when he had a desire to eat a grape, would open his lips when he put it in his mouth, meaning thereby that grapes were made to eat and lips to open. You do love this maid?
I do, sir.
Give me your hand. Art thou learned?
No, sir.
Then learn this of me. To have is to have. For it is a figure in rhetoric that drink being poured out of a cup into a glass, by filling the one doth empty the other. For all your writers do consent that up is he, now you are not ups, for I am he.
Which he, sir?
He, sir, that must marry this woman. Therefore, you clown, abandon, which is in the vulgar, leave the society, which is in the boorish, is company of this female, which in the common is woman, which together is abandon the society of this female, or clown, thou perished, or to thy better understanding diest. To wit, I kill thee, make thee away, translate thy life into death, thy liberty into bondage. I will deal in poison with thee, or in basiadanado, or steel. I will bandy thee in faction. I will o'errun thee with police. I will kill thee 150 ways. Therefore, tremble and depart.
Do good, William.
God rest you, merry sir.
Our master and mistress seeks you. Come away, away.
Audrey Trip, I attend. Act 5, Scene 2.
Is it possible that on so little acquaintance you should like her, that but seeing you should love her, and loving woo, and wooing she should grant? And will you persever to enjoy her?
Neither. Call the giddiness of it in question. The poverty of her, the small acquaintance, my sudden wooing, nor my sudden consenting. But say with me, I love Celina. Say with her that she loves me. Consent with both that we may enjoy each other. It shall be to your good. For my father's house and all the revenue that was old Sir Rollins will I estate upon you, and here live and die a shepherd.
You have my consent. Let your wedding be tomorrow. Thither will I invite the Duke and all's contented followers. Go you and prepare Celina. For look you, here comes my Rosalind.
God save you, brother.
And you, fair sister.
Oh, my dear Orlando, how it grieves me to see thee wear thy heart in the scarf.
It is my arm.
I thought thy heart had been wounded with the claws of a lion.
Wounded it is, but with the eyes of a lady.
Did your brother tell you how I counterfeited to sound when he showed me your handkercher?
Aye, and greater wonders than that.
Oh, ha! I know where you are. Nay, 'tis true. There was never anything so sudden but the sight of 2 rams and Caesar's Thessalical brag of I came, saw, and overcame. For your brother and my sister no sooner met, but they looked. No sooner looked, but they loved. No sooner loved, but they sighed. No sooner sighed, but they asked one another the reason. No sooner knew the reason, but they sought the remedy. And in these degrees have made a pair of stairs to marriage. which they will climb incontinent or else be incontinent before marriage. They are in the very wrath of love, and they will together. Clubs cannot keep them apart.
They shall be married tomorrow, and I will bid the Duke to the nuptial. But oh, how bitter a thing it is to look into happiness through another man's eyes. By so much the more shall I tomorrow be at the height of heart heaviness, by how much I shall think my brother happy in having what he wishes for.
Why then tomorrow I cannot serve your turn for Rosalind?
I can live no longer by thinking.
I will weary you then no longer with idle talking. Know of me then, for now I speak to some purpose, that I know you are a gentleman of good conceit. I speak not this that you should bear a good opinion of my knowledge. In so much I say, I know you are. Neither do I labor for a greater esteem than may in some little measure draw a belief from you to do yourself good and not to grace me. Believe me then, if you please, that I can do strange things. I have since I was 3-year-old conversed with a magician, most profound in his art and yet not damnable. If you do love Rosalind so near the heart as your gesture cries it out, when your brother marries Celina, shall you marry her? I know into what straits of fortune she is woven, and it is not impossible to me, if it appear not inconvenient to you, to set her before your eyes tomorrow, human as she is and without any danger.
Speakest thou in sober meanings?
By my life, I do, which I tender dearly, though I say I am a magician. Therefore, put you in your best array, bid your friends, for if you will be married tomorrow, you shall, and to Rosalind, if you will. Look, here comes a lover of mine, and a lover of hers.
Youth, you have done me much ungentleness to shrew the letter that I writ to you.
I care not if I have. It is my study to seem despiteful and ungentle to you. You are therefore followed by a faithful shepherd. Look upon him, love him. He worships you.
Good shepherd, tell this youth what 'tis to love.
It is to be all made of sighs and tears. And so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of faith and service. And so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
I for no woman.
It is to be all made of fantasy, all made of passion, and all made of wishes, all adoration, duty, and observance, all humbleness, all patience and impatience, all purity, all trial, all observance, and so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And so am I for Rosalind.
And so am I for no woman.
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
Why do you speak too? Why blame you me to love you?
To her that is not here, nor doth not hear.
Pray you, no more of this. 'Tis like the howling of Irish wolves against the moon. Orlando, I will help you if I can. Phoebe, I would love you if I could. Tomorrow, meet me all together. Phoebe, I will marry you if ever I marry woman, and I'll be married tomorrow. Orlando, I will satisfy you if ever I satisfied man, and you shall be married tomorrow. Silvius, I will content you if what pleases you contents you, and you shall be married tomorrow. As you love Rosalind, meet. As you love Phoebe, meet. And as I love no woman, I'll meet. So, fare you well. I have left you commands.
I'll not fail if I live.
Nor I.
Nor I.
Act 5, Scene 3. Tomorrow is the joyful day, Audrey. Tomorrow will we be married.
I do desire it with all my heart, and I hope it is no dishonest desire to be a woman of ye world. Here come 2 of the banished Duke pages.
Well met, honest gentlemen.
By my troth, well met. Come, sit and a song.
It was a lover and his lass, with a hey and a ho and a hey nonny no, that o'er the green cornfield did pass in the springtime, the only pretty rain time, when birds do sing, hey ding a ding ding, sweet lovers love the spring. And therefore take the present time with a hey and a ho and a hey nonny no, for love is crowned with a prime in springtime, between the acres of the rye, with a hey and a ho and a hey nonny no, these pretty country folks would lie in springtime. This carol they began that hour, with a hey and a ho and a hey nonny no, how that a life was but a flower in springtime.
Truly, young gentlemen, though there was no great matter in the ditty, yet no note was very, very untunable.
You are deceived, sir. We kept time, we lost not our time.
By my troth, yes. Oh, I count it but time lost to hear such a foolish song. God buy you, and God mend your voices. Come, Audrey. Act 5, Scene 4.
Dost thou believe, Orlando, that the boy can do all of this that he had promised?
I sometimes do believe and sometimes do not, as those that fear they hope and know they fear.
Patience once more, whilst our compact is urged. Duke, you say if I bring in your Rosalind, you will bestow her on Orlando here.
That would I, had I kingdoms to give to her.
And you say, Orlando, you will have her when I bring her.
That would I, were I of all kingdoms king.
Phoebe, you say you'll marry me if I be willing.
That I will, should I die the hour after.
But if you do refuse to marry me, you'll give yourself to this most faithful shepherd.
So is the bargain.
Silvius, you say that you'll have Phoebe if she will.
Though to have her in death were both one thing.
I have promised to make all this matter even. Keep you your word, O Duke, to give your daughter. You yours, Orlando, to receive his daughter. Keep you your word, Phoebe, that you'll marry me, or else refusing me to wed this shepherd. Keep you your word, Silvius, that you'll marry her if she refuses me, and from hence I go to make these doubts all even.
I do remember in this shepherd boy some lively touches of my daughter's favor.
My lord, the first time that I ever saw him, methought he was a brother to your daughter. But my good lord, this boy is forest born and hath been tutored in the rudiments of many desperate studies by his uncle, whom he reports to be a great magician, obscured in the circle of this forest.
There is sure another flood toward, and these couples are coming to the ark. Here comes a pair of very strange beasts, which in all tongues are called fools.
Salutation and greeting to you all.
Good my lord, bid him welcome. This is the motley-minded gentleman that I've so often met in the forest. He hath been a courtier, he swears.
If any man doubt that, let him put me to my purgation. I have trod a measure. I have flattered a lady. I have been politic with my friend, smooth with my enemies. I have undone 3 tailors. I have had 4 quarrels, and like to have fought 1.
And how was that ta'en up?
Oh, faith, we met and found the quarrel was upon the seventh cause.
Our seventh cause. Good my lord, like this fellow.
I like him very well.
Good ill you, sir. I desire you of the like. I press in here, sir, amongst the rest of the country copulatives to swear and to forswear, according as marriage binds and blood breaks. A poor virgin, sir, an ill-favored thing, sir, but mine own, a poor humor of mine, sir, to take, that no man else will. Rich honesty dwells like a miser, sir, in a poor house, as your pearl in your foul oyster.
By my faith, he is very swift and sententious.
According to the fool's bolt, sir, and such dulcet diseases.
But for the seventh cause, how did you find the quarrel on the seventh cause?
Upon a lie 7 times removed. Here your body more seeming, Audrey, as thus, sir, I did dislike the cut of a certain courtier's beard. He sent me word. If I said his beard was not cut well, he was in the mind it was. This is called the retort, courteous. If I sent him word again, it was not well cut, he would send me word he cut it to please himself. This is called the quip, modest. Now, if again it was not well cut, he disabled my judgment. That is called the reply, churlish. If it again was not well cut, he would answer, oh, I speak not true, and that is called the reproof, valiant. If again it was not well cut, he would say, I lie, and this is called the countercheck, quarrelsome, and so to lie circumstantial, and the lie direct.
And how oft did you say his beard was not well cut?
I durst not go no further than the lie circumstantial, nor he durst not give me the lie direct. And so we measured swords and parted.
Can you nominate in order now the degrees of the lie?
Oh, sir, we quarreled in print by the book. As you have books for good manners, I will name you the degrees. The first, the retort courteous. The second, the quip modest. The third, the reply churlish. The fourth, the reproof valiant. The fifth, the countercheck quarrelsome. The sixth, the lie with circumstance. The seventh, the lie direct. All these you may avoid with the lie direct, and you may avoid that too with an if. I knew when 7 justices could not take up the quarrel, but when the parties were met themselves, one of them thought but of an if, as if you said so, then I said so, and they shook hands and swore, brothers, ha, yours, if, is the only peacemaker. Much virtue in if.
Is this not a rare fellow, my lord? He's as good as anything, and yet a fool.
He uses his folly like a stalking horse, and under the presentation of that, he shoots his wit.
Then there is mirth in heaven when earthly things made even atone together. Good Duke, receive thy daughter. Hymen from heaven brought her, yea, brought her hither, that thou mightst join his hand with his, whose heart within his bosom is.
To you, Duke, I give myself, for I am yours. To you, Orlando, I give myself, for I am yours.
There be truth in sight. You are my daughter.
There be truth in sight, you are my Rosalind.
If sight and shape be true, then my love, adieu.
I'll have no father if you be not he. I'll have no husband if you be not he, nor ne'er wed woman if you be not she.
Peace ho, I bear confusion. 'Tis I must make conclusion of these most strange events. Here's 8 that must take hands to join in Hymen's bands, if truth holds true contents. You and you, no cross shall part. You and you are heart in heart. You to his love must accord. or have a woman to your lord. You and you are sure together, as winter to foul weather. While the wedlock hymn we sing, feed yourselves with questioning, that reason wonder may diminish, how thus we met, and these things finish. Wedding is great Juno's crown, oh blessed bond of board and bed, 'tis Hymen peoples every town. High wedlock then be honored, honor, high honor and renown to Hymen, God of every town.
Oh, my dear niece, welcome thou art to me, even daughter welcome in no less degree.
I will not eat my word. Now that art mine, my faith, my fiance to thee doth combine.
Let me have audience for a word or two. I am the second son of old Sir Rowland that bring these tidings to this fair assembly. Duke Frederick, hearing how that every day men of great worth resorted to this forest, addressed a mighty power which were on foot in his own conduct, purposely to take his brother here and put him to the sword. And to the skirts of this wild wood he came, where meeting with an old religious man, after some question with him, was converted, both from his enterprise and from the world, his crown bequeathing to his banished brother, and all their lands restored to him again, that were with him exiled. This to be true, I do engage my life.
Welcome, young man. Thou offerest fairly to thy brother's wedding. To one his lands withheld, and to the other a land itself at large, a potent dukedom. First, in this forest, let us do those ends that here were well begun and well begot, and after, every of this happy number that have endured shrewd days and nights with us shall share the good of a returned fortune according to the measure of their states. Meantime, forget this new feigned dignity and fall into our rustic revelry. Play music, and you, brides and bridegrooms all, with measure heaped in joy to the measures fall.
Sir, by your patience, if I heard you rightly, the Duke hath put on a religious life and thrown into neglect the pompous court.
He hath.
To him will I. Out of these convertites, there is much matter to be heard and learned. Duke Senior, you, to your former honor, I bequeath your patience, and your virtue well deserves it. Orlando, you to a love that your true faith doth merit. Oliver, you to your land and love and great allies. Silvius, you to a long and well-deserved bed. And Touchstone, and you to wrangling, for thy loving voyage is but for 2 months' victual. So to your pleasures I am for other than for dancing measures.
Stay, Jaques, stay.
To see no pastime I, what you would have I'll stay to know at your abandoned cave.
Proceed, proceed. We'll begin these nights as we do trust they'll end in true delights.
It is not the fashion to see the lady, the epilogue, but it is no more unhandsome than to see the lord, the prologue. If it be true that good wine needs no bush, 'tis true that a good play needs no epilogue. Yet to good wine they do use good bushes, and good plays prove the better by the help of good epilogues. What a case am I in then, that am neither a good epilogue nor can insinuate with you in the behalf of a good play? I am not furnished like a beggar. Therefore, to beg will not become me. My way is to conjure you, and I'll begin with the women. I charge you, O women, for the love you bear to men, to like as much of this play as pleases you. And I charge you, O men, for the love you bear to women, as I perceive by your simpering none of you hates them, that between you and the women, the play may please. If I were a woman, I would kiss as many of you as had beards that pleased me, complexions that liked me, and breaths I defied not. And I am sure as many as have good beards or good faces or sweet breaths will from my kind offer, when I make curtsy, bid me farewell.
Yay! Great job, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we hope our audience enjoyed our show. And yeah, we will return. We don't know when, but we're going to take a bit of a breather. Well, I'm going to take a bit of a breather. And we will certainly be back in September with another reading. But thank you, guys. Thank you so much for everything, and great job. And what else is there to say?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
for
guys.
getting us all
Great stuff,
together.
everyone.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Good
everybody.
night.
Bye.
Enjoy Labor Day.
Take care. Have a great one.
Yeah.